Have you ever felt like the day began before you even had a chance to take a proper breath? Imagine waking up and in that split second, your phone buzzes. Another message, another notification, and suddenly you're pulled into a whirlwind of thoughts. Your mind races, wondering if something important has happened or if someone needs you, even before you've had the chance to settle into the quiet of the morning. It's a familiar sensation, isn't it? That feeling of being swept away by reactions rather than starting the day with calm intention. Before we move further into this conversation, if you're finding value in these reflections, I'd love for you to like, share, and subscribe. Your support means a lot, and it helps keep this conversation about inner strength and mindful living going strong. Now, imagine if you could pause for just a moment, to choose your response instead of simply reacting on autopilot. There's a gentle wisdom that has quietly empowered countless women to face life's twists and turns with grace. This wisdom is Stoicism, a way of living that, whether you know it or not, has already touched your life in small, subtle ways. Think back to a time when a minor setback, a harsh word from a friend, or an unexpected change of plans sparked a storm within you. In those moments, it feels as though a small spark ignites a blaze, leaving you overwhelmed and unsteady. Have you ever wondered if you could handle that moment differently? There's a quiet strength in learning to pause, in allowing yourself the space to breathe before emotions take over. It's about being present, choosing to respond with thoughtfulness rather than reacting impulsively. Imagine starting your day with the awareness that while you might not control every event, you always have the power to choose how you respond. This isn't about ignoring your feelings or the challenges life presents. It's about embracing each moment with a calm, clear mind. Picture yourself noticing those fleeting moments of stress, a brief doubt when comparing yourself to others, or a sudden insecurity that makes you question your worth, and gently letting them pass, like clouds drifting by. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to greet each new day with that kind of calm confidence? Today, let's explore together how the timeless wisdom of Stoicism can help transform everyday challenges into opportunities for growth and self-discovery. Let's uncover, step by step, how you can reclaim your inner peace and move through life with a steady, assured heart. Let's talk about something we all experience but rarely notice: the silent killers of inner peace. Have you ever found yourself lost in a sea of comparisons while scrolling through social media, feeling like every picture or post is a reminder that you're somehow not measuring up? This is what we call the comparison trap, and it's one of those subtle forces that slowly drains your energy without you even realizing it. When you see those picture-perfect snapshots, it can feel like you're constantly chasing an ideal that isn't really meant for you. Instead of celebrating your unique journey, you might end up feeling inadequate. The key here is to remember that what you see online is only a glimpse, a curated moment that doesn't tell the full story. Let's be honest, we've all been there. You might scroll through your feed, and suddenly doubts begin to creep in, questions about your own worth and accomplishments. But here's a gentle reminder. Your life is not a competition, and your worth isn't defined by someone else's highlight reel. Stoic wisdom teaches us that the power to shape our inner world lies in focusing on what we can control, and that means turning our attention inward instead of constantly measuring ourselves against others. Now, moving on to another challenge many of us face: the need for validation. Have you ever found yourself seeking approval from others, hoping that a kind word or a compliment will fill that void inside? It's natural to want to be seen and appreciated, but when that need becomes the lens through which you view your entire self-worth, it can be incredibly draining. Every time you depend on someone else's opinion to feel good about yourself, you give away a little bit of your inner power. Imagine a moment when you've put in so much effort into something, maybe a project at work or even a personal goal, and all you really want is a nod of recognition. But if that acknowledgement doesn't come, it can feel like you've failed, even if deep down you know you did your best. This constant search for external validation not only weakens your self-esteem, but it also distracts you from the truth that you are inherently enough, just as you are. The wisdom here is simple yet profound. True validation comes from within. Embracing this idea means gradually releasing the need for constant approval and instead celebrating your own achievements and growth. Let's talk next about over-attachment. Have you ever noticed how tightly you hold on to certain expectations, whether they're about relationships, career outcomes, or even how your day should go? When you become overly attached to a specific outcome, any deviation can feel like a personal failure. It's as if you're clinging to a vision of perfection that doesn't really exist, and every twist of fate feels like a setback. This over-attachment can create a cycle where every disappointment, no matter how small, begins to feel overwhelming. Instead of adapting to what life brings, you might find yourself stuck in a loop of regret or anxiety, constantly wondering what could have been if things had gone just a little bit differently. Stoic principles gently remind us that while we may set intentions and work towards our goals, the outcome is often beyond our control. Recognizing this can help you release that tight grip and open up to a more flexible, resilient way of living. It's about finding a balance, setting goals, yes, but also learning to flow with life's natural rhythm. And then there's emotional reactivity. Have you ever experienced a moment when, without warning, your emotions took over, leaving you reacting before you even had a chance to think? It might be a sudden burst of anger when someone speaks harshly, or a wave of sadness when a small disappointment turns into a big emotional storm. These moments can feel like they come out of nowhere, and in the heat of the moment, it's hard to see a way out. We've all been there, when a comment or a situation triggers an immediate response, and before we know it, we're caught up in a spiral of regret. What if you could take a step back and catch that rising tide of emotion before it overwhelms you? Imagine being able to pause, to allow a brief moment of stillness, and then choosing a response that aligns with your inner values rather than reacting impulsively. That is the transformative power of cultivating a Stoic mindset. It doesn't mean ignoring your feelings. Rather, it means acknowledging them and then deciding with a clear mind how you want to move forward. Throughout this part of our conversation, I want you to understand that these silent killers, whether it's the comparison trap, the need for validation, over-attachment, or emotional reactivity, are not inherent flaws within you. They are simply habits of thought that many of us develop as we navigate the complexities of modern life. And just as these habits can drain your inner peace, they can also be gently transformed through mindfulness and self-awareness. Take, for example, the idea of observing your thoughts as if you were watching clouds pass by in the sky. When you notice a thought that triggers a feeling of inadequacy or anxiety, you can acknowledge it and then let it drift away, rather than holding on to it as if it were a permanent fixture. This simple act of observation, of not immediately engaging with every emotion, creates a space where you can choose to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. I know that these challenges are woven into the fabric of our daily lives. They might seem small, almost insignificant at times, but over the course of a day, they can accumulate, subtly eroding your sense of well-being. That's why it's so important to be aware of them and to gently remind yourself that you have the power to shift your focus. You can choose to invest your energy in thoughts and actions that nurture your inner peace, rather than those that feed into insecurity or stress. Reflect for a moment on a day when you might have felt weighed down by these invisible forces. Perhaps it was a day when every notification, every comparison, and every fleeting moment of doubt added up to leave you feeling overwhelmed. Now imagine if you could rewrite that day by simply choosing to observe those thoughts without judgment. Picture yourself pausing to ask, is this thought serving me? Is it something I need to hold on to? With each conscious pause, you reclaim a little more control, a little more of the calm that is rightfully yours. It's not about achieving perfection or never experiencing negative emotions. Life is full of ups and downs, and every emotion has its place. But by learning to recognize these silent killers and gently releasing their grip, you create a more balanced inner space. This space is where genuine self-compassion grows, where you learn to trust in your own ability to weather the storms of life without losing sight of the calm that lies within. As we continue our journey together, keep in mind that these are not battles to be fought with brute force. They are quiet shifts, small changes in perspective that, over time, transform your experience of life. The next time you find yourself caught in the web of comparison, or when you feel the sting of seeking validation, remember that you have the power to let go. You can choose to embrace your own unique path, confident in the knowledge that your value comes from within. And so, in this part of the video, we've explored some of the subtle yet powerful forces that can erode your inner peace without you even realizing it. By understanding the comparison trap, recognizing the need for validation, loosening the grip of over-attachment, and tempering emotional reactivity, you are taking the first steps toward a more mindful, resilient life. Each of these insights is a tool, a way to reclaim your inner strength and create a space where peace, clarity, and self-compassion flourish. I invite you now to reflect on these ideas. Consider how they might be showing up in your daily life and what small shifts you could make to invite more calm into your routine. Remember, this is a journey, a gentle, ongoing process of rediscovering the power that lies within you to shape your own experience. Let these ideas settle in and know that each step you take is a meaningful move toward reclaiming your inner peace. Let's explore the core Stoic principles that can truly transform the way you experience life. This section is all about understanding the timeless ideas that can help you regain control, embrace every moment, and live with quiet strength. Let's begin with the idea of what you can truly influence in your life. Imagine for a moment that your mind is like a beautiful garden, where some seeds you plant you have complete control over, while others are carried by the wind outside your grasp. This simple but powerful idea is known as the dichotomy of control. Think back to a time when you felt overwhelmed by the chaos around you, maybe a sudden change in your work schedule or an unexpected disagreement with a friend. In those moments, it's natural to want to control everything, to try to shape the outcome exactly as you wish. But the wisdom here is to recognize that while you can influence your actions, thoughts, and responses, many of the events in life are simply beyond your control. Once you accept this, you begin to free yourself from the burden of unrealistic expectations. You learn to focus your energy on what truly matters: your inner world, your decisions, and your behavior. This understanding can bring a remarkable sense of peace as you start to let go of the need to fix what you simply cannot change. Now let's talk about another beautiful idea: loving everything that happens, even the moments that seem hard or painful. This is known as amor fati, or the love of fate. Picture yourself on a winding path where every twist and turn, whether smooth or rough, is an essential part of your journey. Instead of resisting challenges or wishing things were different, imagine embracing them fully as part of your unique story. When you learn to love your fate, you're not saying that every moment is pleasant, but rather that every experience has value and contributes to your growth. It's like appreciating the contrast between light and shadow in a painting. Each element helps create a complete picture. Reflect for a moment on the idea that our time here is finite. This notion, expressed in the phrase memento mori, remember that you will die, might seem somber at first, but it carries a liberating message. It invites you to cherish every moment and to prioritize what is truly important. When you're aware that life is precious and limited, you naturally begin to let go of trivial worries and focus on what brings genuine meaning to your days. Instead of spending time on regrets or needless anxieties, you learn to savor every breath, every smile, and every challenge as a reminder of the vibrant, fleeting nature of existence. This awareness doesn't bring despair. It brings a deep appreciation for life, encouraging you to live authentically and with purpose. Now let's consider the idea of preparing yourself for life's inevitable challenges, a practice known as negative visualization. Imagine if, each day, you took a few moments to envision the obstacles that might come your way. It might sound unsettling at first, but by gently imagining the worst-case scenarios, you actually build a kind of resilience. Think of it as a mental rehearsal. You're not dwelling on negativity, but rather giving yourself a chance to prepare for uncertainty. When challenges arise, you're not caught off guard because you've already given your mind a chance to process and accept that things might not always go as planned. This technique can help reduce anxiety as you become better equipped to handle surprises and setbacks without losing your inner balance. Finally, let's reflect on the idea of caring less about what doesn't truly matter, the power of indifference. It's not about being uncaring or detached. It's about understanding that not every comment, every setback, or every fleeting moment of criticism deserves your full attention. Picture yourself in a bustling room filled with noise and chatter, but you choose to listen only to the words that nourish your soul. By practicing indifference toward the trivial, you protect your inner peace from being disturbed by what is outside your control. This doesn't mean shutting yourself off from the world. It means being selective about where you invest your energy and emotions. In doing so, you create a space where your inner strength can flourish, free from the clutter of unnecessary distractions. As we talk about these principles, think of them as gentle companions on your journey. The dichotomy of control invites you to focus on what you can change. Amor fati teaches you to embrace every experience, finding beauty even in hardship. Memento mori reminds you of life's preciousness, urging you to live fully and authentically. Negative visualization prepares you for challenges by strengthening your resilience, and the power of indifference helps you conserve your energy for what truly matters. Imagine a day when you apply these ideas seamlessly into your life. You wake up and immediately recognize that while you cannot control the unexpected message or a sudden change in plans, you can decide how you respond. When you face a difficult moment, instead of reacting with frustration or despair, you pause and remind yourself that this is part of your journey, an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to practice self-compassion. In those moments, you begin to see that each challenge is not a burden, but a stepping stone toward a more centered and fulfilled existence. Picture yourself using the principle of the dichotomy of control as you encounter everyday obstacles. Instead of fixating on things beyond your reach, you choose to invest your energy in your own actions and thoughts. You begin to see that life's unpredictability is not something to be feared, but something to be managed with grace. By letting go of the need to control every outcome, you create space for spontaneity, creativity, and even joy, elements that often emerge when you stop fighting the inevitable. Now, as you embrace amor fati, you start to view every twist in your journey as a valuable part of your story. Whether a day brings unexpected challenges or delightful surprises, you come to understand that each moment is an integral piece of the puzzle that forms your life. This perspective helps you accept your circumstances with gratitude, knowing that even the difficult moments contribute to your growth. Instead of resisting what comes your way, you welcome it, understanding that every experience enriches your character. When you allow the idea of memento mori to resonate within you, you develop a heightened sense of urgency to live fully. The awareness that life is brief inspires you to prioritize what truly matters. You might find yourself more present in conversations, more engaged in activities that bring you joy, and more forgiving of yourself when mistakes occur. This understanding turns every moment into an opportunity to express love, to pursue dreams, and to leave a gentle, lasting impact on the world. By practicing negative visualization, you build an inner resilience that shields you from unexpected shocks. You might start each day by quietly acknowledging that while things may not go perfectly, you have the inner strength to navigate whatever arises. This preparation isn't about dwelling on negativity. Rather, it's about recognizing that challenges are a natural part of life and that being mentally ready for them can lessen their impact. Over time, you develop a calm confidence that carries you through even the most unpredictable moments. And as you practice the power of indifference, you become more selective about where you focus your attention. Instead of allowing every minor setback or offhand remark to disturb your peace, you learn to distinguish between what truly matters and what is simply noise. This discernment empowers you to keep your energy reserved for the things that enrich your life, whether it's nurturing your relationships, pursuing your passions, or simply enjoying the quiet beauty of a moment. In this part of our video, we've taken a closer look at these core principles that serve as the foundation for a more centered life. Each one invites you to see the world a little differently, to understand that true power comes not from controlling every aspect of your environment, but from mastering your inner responses. These principles are not abstract ideas meant only for philosophers. They are practical tools that you can use every day, in every situation, to build a resilient, peaceful life. As you listen to these ideas, allow them to settle in and resonate with your own experiences. Think of times when you have already, perhaps unknowingly, practiced these principles. Maybe you've experienced a moment of calm in the midst of chaos, or a day when you accepted an unexpected change with grace. These instances are the seeds of Stoic wisdom taking root in your life. They remind you that you have an innate strength that can be nurtured and expanded through mindful practice. Imagine a future where you approach each day with this newfound perspective, where challenges are seen as opportunities and every setback is a chance to reaffirm your commitment to inner peace. It's a future where the wisdom of the dichotomy of control, amor fati, memento mori, negative visualization, and the power of indifference is not just an idea you've heard, but a way of life that guides your every decision. Think about how liberating it would be to live without the constant burden of trying to control every outcome, or to feel secure in the knowledge that no matter what happens, you have the power to choose your response. This approach doesn't require grand gestures or radical changes overnight. It's built from small, consistent actions, a deep breath before reacting, a moment of reflection when faced with uncertainty, or a gentle reminder to appreciate the fleeting beauty of life. Each of these actions reinforces your inner strength and builds a foundation for lasting resilience. As we continue our conversation, I invite you to reflect on these principles in your own life. Which of these ideas resonates with you the most? How might embracing these concepts change the way you handle everyday challenges? There is no one right answer, only the journey of discovering what works best for you, step by step. Remember, the beauty of these Stoic ideas lies in their simplicity. They are not meant to complicate your life, but to clarify it. By understanding and embracing them, you can transform even the most stressful moments into opportunities for growth and self-discovery. With each mindful pause, you reclaim a bit more of your inner power, paving the way for a life marked by balance, grace, and quiet determination. So as you move forward from this part of our video, let these core principles be a gentle reminder of your strength. Let them inspire you to live each day with purpose, accepting both the light and the shadow with open arms. And above all, Remember that the journey to a more resilient, centered life is one that you are already well on your way to achieving, one thoughtful, deliberate step at a time. Let's talk about emotional triggers and how we can master them with a calm, stoic approach. Have you ever been in a situation where a single comment or a small gesture from someone leaves your heart pounding, your thoughts swirling, and your mood completely upended? It happens so fast. One moment you're at ease, and the next you feel disrespected or hurt, as if an invisible switch has been flipped inside you. Imagine someone speaks to you harshly, or you overhear a remark that cuts deep. In that moment, it might seem almost impossible not to react immediately, to let your emotions take over. But what if you could pause before your response? What if, instead of reacting impulsively, you could take a deep breath, recognize the surge of emotion, and choose a more measured response? That ability to pause, to let the initial sting fade before you act, is one of the quiet, transformative gifts of practicing Stoic wisdom. Think about those times when life feels overwhelming, when every little setback seems to pile up until you're drowning in worry. Perhaps it's the pressure of a challenging day at work, or the unexpected news that leaves you feeling uncertain about tomorrow. In these moments, the weight of the world can press down on you, making it feel as though every emotion is magnified. But consider this. Every feeling, even the intense ones, is like a wave in the ocean. It comes, it surges, and eventually it passes. Have you ever noticed that when you let a strong emotion carry you away, it often leaves you feeling even more exhausted afterward? It's as if you lose a bit of yourself each time you let anger, frustration, or sadness dictate your actions. Stoicism teaches us to observe these emotions as they arise without immediately diving into them. Picture yourself as someone sitting by the shore, watching waves roll in. Instead of being swept up by each wave, you allow them to rise and fall, knowing that your true essence remains calm and steady underneath. Now, let's address another common trigger: rejection and failure. We've all faced moments where things didn't go as planned, where the outcome wasn't what we hoped for, or where we felt rejected by someone we care about. These moments can sting deeply, leaving us with a lingering sense of inadequacy. It might be that missed promotion, a friend's hurtful comment, or simply the feeling that no matter how hard we try, something is always just out of reach. In those moments, it's natural to feel disheartened, to question our own worth. But what if you could shift your perspective and see these setbacks not as failures, but as opportunities for growth? Imagine learning to view rejection as a gentle nudge toward a better path, a signal that something different is waiting for you, something more aligned with your true purpose. When you adopt this mindset, each setback becomes a lesson, each moment of failure a stepping stone toward a more resilient and authentic version of yourself. Instead of letting rejection define you, you come to understand that your worth is intrinsic, independent of external validation. There are times, too, when the chatter of gossip and negative opinions from others seeps into your mind, weighing you down without any constructive purpose. You might find yourself ruminating over hurtful words or the murmurs of discontent, wondering why someone would take the time to cast judgment. In these moments, your heart may feel heavy, and your mind may spiral into self-doubt. But remember, not every opinion is meant to shape your self-image. Consider this. What if you could learn to let these negative voices pass by, much like leaves carried away by a gentle stream? Stoicism encourages you to cultivate a sense of detachment from opinions that do not serve your inner peace. When you recognize that the thoughts of others are often reflections of their own struggles and insecurities, you can begin to distance yourself from their negativity. This doesn't mean you become indifferent to genuine feedback. Rather, you learn to discern which voices are worth listening to and which are just background noise. In doing so, you create a protective space around your mind, a space where only what truly matters is allowed to take root. Now let's talk about that lingering feeling of not being enough. It's a quiet whisper that sometimes grows into a roaring doubt, convincing you that you're lacking in some essential way. Maybe it's triggered by a comparison with someone else's seemingly perfect life, or the nagging thought that you're not living up to your own expectations. In these moments, the mind can become a battleground, filled with self-criticism and regret. But here's the gentle truth. You are enough, exactly as you are. Imagine standing in front of a mirror and truly seeing yourself, not the reflection shaped by external pressures, but the real you, with all your strengths and vulnerabilities. Stoic wisdom helps you to shift your focus from what you think you lack to what you possess. It encourages you to honor your unique journey and to understand that every challenge, every perceived shortcoming, is a part of the rich tapestry of your life. When you begin to see yourself through the compassionate eyes of a friend, the weight of inadequacy slowly starts to lift. Have you ever experienced a moment when your emotions took control so suddenly that you wished you had a moment to just breathe, to pause, and to choose a different path? Perhaps it was when someone's words felt like a personal attack, or when the stress of the day built up until you felt ready to burst. In these instances, the key is to create a small space between stimulus and response. That space, however brief, is where your true power lies. It's where you can decide not to let the current of emotion carry you away, but instead to navigate it with deliberate calm. Think about a time when you felt that surge of anger or sadness, and then somehow you managed to catch yourself before you reacted. That pause is a small victory, a moment where you affirm that you are in control of your inner world. Each time you successfully create that space, you reinforce your ability to master your emotions. With practice, those moments of self-control become more frequent, and the intensity of emotional triggers gradually diminishes. In our everyday lives, these emotional triggers can sometimes seem overwhelming. But remember, it's not about never feeling anger, sadness, or frustration. It's about learning to navigate these feelings with grace. Imagine if every time a strong emotion arose, you treated it like a guest at your table. A guest you acknowledge, perhaps even listen to, but who doesn't dictate the course of your day. With this approach, you honor your feelings without allowing them to define you. Instead, you become the calm observer, gently guiding your emotions rather than being swept along by them. Picture a scenario where someone dismisses your ideas or speaks to you in a way that feels unkind. In that moment, your initial reaction might be to retreat into silence or to lash out. But what if you could instead pause, take a deep breath, and remind yourself that the other person's words are a reflection of their own inner struggles? By choosing to respond rather than react, you reclaim the narrative of your day. You decide that your worth is not determined by fleeting moments of conflict, but by the steady, unshakable foundation of your inner peace. There is a profound power in turning these challenging moments into opportunities for self-reflection and growth. When you approach emotional triggers with curiosity rather than judgment, you begin to see patterns in your responses. Over time, you can identify which situations tend to unsettle you and prepare yourself mentally for them. This isn't about becoming emotionless. It's about becoming emotionally intelligent, recognizing your triggers and understanding their roots so that you can address them with kindness and clarity. Imagine setting aside a quiet moment at the end of the day to reflect on the moments that stirred your emotions. You might ask yourself, what triggered me today? How did I respond, and what could I do differently next time? This simple practice can become a powerful tool in your journey toward mastering your emotional landscape. It turns every day into a lesson, every challenge into an opportunity to refine your ability to remain centered in the midst of life's storms. Sometimes, the most challenging moments come when you least expect them. A sudden burst of frustration during a hectic day, or an unexpected comment that cuts deep. In those moments, it's important to remember that you have the power to choose how you let these triggers affect you. Instead of allowing them to define your mood or your day, you can acknowledge their presence, understand their origin, and then gently let them go. This act of releasing, of choosing not to cling to negative emotions, is a quiet act of self-love. It's a reminder that you are the author of your own story, capable of writing each chapter with intention and grace. Reflect on the possibility that each emotional trigger is not an enemy to be vanquished, but a teacher offering a lesson in resilience. When you learn to see your emotions for what they are, temporary states rather than permanent identities, you empower yourself to face life with a clear, focused mind. Every time you successfully navigate a difficult moment, you build a reservoir of inner strength that will support you in future challenges. Over time, this practice transforms your emotional landscape, making it less turbulent and more serene. Now consider how liberating it is to no longer be at the mercy of every fleeting emotion. Envision a day where, when a negative thought or feeling arises, you greet it with curiosity rather than fear. You allow it to pass, knowing that it does not define you, and then you return your focus to the present, the here and now, where your true power resides. This simple shift in perspective is a cornerstone of Stoic wisdom and a profound step toward a life filled with intentional calm and strength. As we reach the close of this part of our video, I invite you to take these ideas to heart. Think of your emotional triggers not as obstacles, but as opportunities to practice self-compassion and mindfulness. The next time you feel that surge of emotion, remember that you have the ability to pause, reflect, and choose your response with care. In doing so, you honor the depth of your inner strength and pave the way for a more peaceful, resilient life. Remember, the journey to mastering your emotions is a gradual one, a series of small, intentional steps that add up over time. Each moment you choose to respond with calm and clarity rather than impulsively reacting is a victory. Every pause you create is a reminder of your ability to control your inner world, no matter how turbulent the external environment may be. So as you move forward from this conversation, hold on to the thought that your emotions are part of your human experience, but they do not have to control you. With practice, patience, and the gentle guidance of Stoic wisdom, you can learn to navigate these emotional triggers with confidence and grace. Allow each challenge to be a stepping stone toward a stronger, more centered version of yourself, a version that meets life's ups and downs with quiet resilience and a calm, enduring spirit. Let's talk about how to develop a Stoic mindset. Practical, everyday habits that empower you to face life with calm clarity. Imagine starting your day with a few moments just for yourself, a quiet space before the world rushes in. Picture this. Instead of reaching for your phone the moment you wake up, you take a slow breath, feel the softness of the morning light, and ask yourself, what is one thing I can control today? This simple morning ritual sets a gentle tone for the rest of your day. It's like giving yourself a fresh start, a moment to focus on what truly matters instead of being swept away by the rush of notifications and endless to-dos. Now think about those moments when life gets busy and you find yourself caught up in a whirlwind of activity. One effective practice is to set aside time each day for journaling and reflection. Imagine sitting with a warm cup of tea, pen in hand, and simply writing down your thoughts, the moments of joy, the small challenges, even the fleeting worries. This isn't about creating a masterpiece of words, it's about allowing your mind to express itself freely. As you write, you might begin to notice patterns, recurring thoughts that either uplift or weigh you down. This gentle habit of reflection not only clarifies your emotions, but also helps you see where you might want to shift your focus. Have you ever noticed how speaking less and simply observing can be incredibly powerful? When you practice this, You give yourself the space to really listen to your inner voice, to others around you, and even to the subtle cues of your environment. Imagine attending a gathering where, instead of filling every silence with words, you allow pauses to emerge naturally. In those quiet moments, you often discover insights that busy chatter might have drowned out. This practice of observation helps you understand that sometimes the most meaningful responses come from the heart rather than the tongue. Let's also consider the art of practicing detachment from negativity. Picture a time when you found yourself caught up in a spiral of pessimism, a moment when negative thoughts threatened to cloud your entire day. Instead of allowing these thoughts to anchor you down, you gently remind yourself that they are just passing clouds. Detachment isn't about ignoring reality or pretending that challenges don't exist. It's about creating a small space between you and those troubling thoughts. Imagine watching leaves float down a stream. You notice them, appreciate their delicate journey, and let them drift away without holding on. This practice of detachment empowers you to maintain your inner peace, even when external circumstances are less than ideal. Now picture yourself putting all these habits into practice. In the quiet moments of the morning, you set a clear intention for the day ahead. As the day unfolds, you occasionally pause to write down your experiences, to reflect on what you've learned, and to see where your thoughts might need a gentle redirection. At times when emotions run high, you remember to take a step back, to observe your feelings as they come and go, and to let go of those that do not serve you. Over time, these small practices begin to weave together into a powerful mindset, one that is resilient, centered, and quietly confident. Think about how these habits might transform your interactions throughout the day. When you're more mindful and present, you become better equipped to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. The next time you're faced with a challenging conversation or a moment of self-doubt, you recall that inner space you've nurtured through your morning rituals and reflective writing. You remember that taking a moment to pause can be the difference between being swept away by emotion and standing firm in your calm. Imagine the impact this could have on your relationships, at work, or even in moments of solitude. With a Stoic mindset, you find yourself less affected by the trivialities of everyday life. Instead, you're able to recognize what truly matters and let go of what doesn't. It's like clearing away the clutter of constant worries so that the room of your mind can be filled with clarity and purpose. Over time, these practices help you build an inner sanctuary, a place of stillness and strength that you can return to whenever you need it. And it's not just about dealing with challenges. Developing a Stoic mindset also means celebrating the small victories. Imagine finishing your day by looking back on the moments when you paused before reacting, when you observed your thoughts without judgment, and when you chose to embrace a moment of peace. These are the building blocks of a resilient life, each one a testament to your growing strength. It's like tending to a garden. Every small act of care helps the beauty of your inner landscape flourish. Now, if you can see yourself incorporating these practices into your daily routine, imagine the ripple effect it might create. Each mindful moment, every pause to reflect, becomes a quiet act of self-love. It reinforces the belief that you are in control of your inner world, no matter how unpredictable the outer world may be. You learn that true strength doesn't come from grand gestures, but from these simple, consistent habits that nourish your mind and soul. As we wrap up this part of our conversation, take a moment to visualize your ideal day. A day where you wake up with intention, take time to journal your thoughts, speak less and listen more, and let go of negativity with gentle detachment. Picture how this mindset could reshape your experiences, turning each challenge into a moment of growth and each pause into an opportunity to reclaim your inner calm. This is not about perfection, it's about progress, about building a life where you move through each day with a quiet confidence and a resilient heart. In the end, developing a Stoic mindset is a journey, one that unfolds gradually, step by step. Each day, with every mindful practice, you become a little more attuned to the beauty of living with calm and intention. And as you continue on this path, you'll discover that the power to shape your experience lies not in the absence of challenges, but in your ability to meet them with grace and self-compassion. Thank you for taking this time with me to explore these ideas. I hope that you feel inspired to try out these practices in your own life, knowing that each small step is a meaningful stride toward a more centered, peaceful existence. Now, as we come to the close of our conversation, let's take a moment to reflect on all that we've shared today. Think back to those quiet mornings when you chose to pause before the day rushed in, and remember that life isn't about controlling every detail, but about focusing on what truly matters. Throughout our discussion, we've explored how subtle shifts in perspective, like noticing the little moments of stress and embracing the calm that follows a mindful pause, can genuinely transform your daily experience. Imagine ending your day with a sense of gratitude, knowing that even the challenges have been opportunities for growth. Every setback, every fleeting doubt becomes a stepping stone toward a more centered, resilient you. The ideas we've discussed, focusing on what you can influence, gently releasing the need for external validation, and embracing each twist of fate as part of your unique journey, aren't just philosophical musings. They are practical tools that help nurture a peaceful inner world. Consider the power of choosing your response rather than reacting automatically. That power, the power to pause and reflect, lies within you. Whether it's a quiet moment with a warm cup of tea or a brief pause to simply breathe, these moments of mindful reflection remind you that you are the author of your own story. Before we continue, if you're enjoying this conversation and finding these insights helpful, I warmly invite you to subscribe and join our community. Your support means a great deal. It allows this dialogue on cultivating inner strength and mindfulness to continue growing and touching more lives. As we draw near to the end of this video, I encourage you to take these ideas into your daily life. Reflect on the moments when you felt overwhelmed, and then remember the gentle techniques we explored that can help you reclaim your calm. Every small act of mindfulness is a victory, a quiet, powerful statement that you are in control of your inner peace. I'd love for you to carry this conversation with you beyond this video. Let the wisdom we've shared be woven into your everyday routine, whether through a moment of journaling, a quiet pause for reflection, or simply a deep breath that centers you in the midst of life's chaos. Each mindful choice you make is a step toward a more resilient and fulfilling life. So as we wrap up, I invite you once more to subscribe if you haven't already. By joining this community, you become a part of a journey toward deeper self-awareness and lasting calm. And now, as we conclude our time together, think about which of these insights resonates most with you. Have you ever experienced a moment when you chose calm over chaos, or when a mindful pause made all the difference? I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Let's continue this conversation together. Thank you for spending this time with me today, for exploring these insights, and for taking another step toward a life filled with balance, resilience, and inner peace. Remember, every day is a new opportunity to nurture your inner calm. Take care, stay mindful, and I look forward to hearing your reflections as we continue on this journey together.